This not path, don't mess with me. I didn't choose this life, it was destiny. God tested me to find the best in me, and I know I'm gonna make it even without a public. Masses, please, I'm way too proud to get down on my knees, but I'm begging. Yep. It's Logic Day. Bobby Tarantino originally came out 2 years ago in the summer of 2016. Now, Logic has decided to release a follow-up project called Bobby Tarantino 2. Now, we all know there's a difference between mixtape and album when it comes to Logic. And the best material we've gotten from Logic's career has been from his mixtapes, in my opinion. First off, let me start off by giving a huge shout out to the artist of the Bobby Tarantino mixtape. I thought the first one looked great, but the second one is even better. And there's so many little details in the second mixtape that make me go back and just like, I'm looking at it like, wow. Like, if you look down, you see Morty hiding in that little speck right there. You see him? In the background of this mixtape, you can see Paradise 85 miles. I believe the last album is going to be called Ultra 85. 85 miles away from Paradise. So I like he's including these little things into the mixtape. Just as something as simple as the cover art for you to pay attention to. You can see he's got his hat that he was wearing from the previous Bobby Tarantino in that little corner right there. He's got his two dogs. Of course, his wife, Jess. The funniest thing about this picture to me, though, is she's driving a stick and it's right in between Logic's legs. Logic being kind of corny in that funny kind of way, naming his album Tits, and then for this cover, he has his wife with her hand literally right in the center of his pants, driving the stick. So I was already interested in the mixtape based off that. Then I looked at his hand and I'm like, why is his hand bleeding? So I did some research. This is where I went online. Turns out if we go and look at the cover art for Everybody, we see Logic sitting at the table with a robot arm, and I'm wondering, like, why? Look at the Everybody cover art. You can see that there is this lettering in the background that says traitor, kind of like a warning to the people who are already happy in that environment. So based off this, we can kind of see that Bobby Tarantino 2 is happening before Everybody, because his arm is still in shambles, it's still bleeding, he still has it. And then when we go to Everybody, it's a robot arm, it's a mechanical arm. So Ultra 85 is him being 85 miles from Paradise. Bobby Tarantino obviously took place before Tits based off the cover art, because he's wearing his spacesuit in Tits, but he's only wearing half of it in Bobby Tarantino, meaning he was preparing for his liftoff. And that's pretty much where the internet stopped helping me, so I had to look at the albums myself and try to piece together what I could in regards to the whole traitor thing being in the back of Everybody. Once I noticed that, then I went back and looked at all of it. Also, you can see Paradise written in the background of Bobby Tarantino, so that's clearly where he's saying that he wants to go. So it's supposed to go Bobby Tarantino, then Tits, then Bobby Tarantino 2, then Everybody. And I'm assuming Ultra 85 is gonna take place in between Bobby Tarantino 2 and Everybody, or after Everybody. So I'm assuming we're gonna see who betrayed him or who's the traitor when Ultra 85 comes out. But enough talking for me. I'm extremely excited about BT2. I've been waiting on this for at least a solid year. Without further ado, let's hop right into the project. I'm excited, you're excited. Let's see what we're gonna get. First track is Grandpa's Spaceship.
I can pick what we listen to next. You know, we've been in this. Morty, calm down. Of course, I love Logic. Who doesn't like Logic? Well, are we talking about mixtape Logic or album Logic? What is it? Album Logic?
Oh,
Morty,
God.
I'm sorry.
No,
I'm gonna have
Morty.
to decline our request.
Yep.
What? I mean, Grandpa Rick.
Tell him, Rick.
Like stacks on some ass.
No, that's not, no.
ATL. Why don't we meet in the middle with some Bobby Tarantino? You know,
I like that he says meet it in the middle, because I really was on the fence when he started talking about, oh, we need to hear about the titties and throwing the money. Like, nobody needs to hear about all that. Just meet me somewhere in the middle, just like Rick said. Track number 2 is called Overnight. For those of you who don't know, I've already heard Overnight. Thought it was okay. Wasn't crazy, just okay. Not really a strong opener for a number 2 spot. We're gonna go to track number 3 called Contra. Let's get into it.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
That
bass. Look at that flow. Oh. Harmonizing, I like this. Damn. That might be one of the longest hooks in human history. Like, that hook goes on for at least a smooth 40 seconds. I like this track. Very simple, very upbeat turn up track for me. I think Logic does well over the beat. I think 6 is on production all over this album. He really needs some more credit because he's an underrated producer, especially for what I've seen in Logic's discography. And I don't really have any problem with this track. I do think Logic tends to repeat him, like he has a pattern too. He tends to repeat himself a lot, like when it comes to music and like rhyming and shit like that. He tends to repeat himself. I think it's funny. I don't think it kills the song or anything, but there could definitely be some other lyrics in place of the repeated one. Track number 4, Boomtrap Protocol.
Let me get up in this bitch like what's good, ho. Gripping the brain, I spit to release the pain. Pimpin' ain't a thing. Anybody got advice? I know I'm a workaholic, but everybody got a price. I leave this levels to the litness. Pull up with that new
Litness? No.
Gotta let my shorty drive. I'm so
Album references, cover art references, I see you. Another okay track. Production really a highlight for this mixtape, as far as I can see. Track number 5, we got Yuck. Oh man.
This time me, I'm on the road. Always on time 'cause my eyes is on my rodeo legs. I don't trust nobody or no.
Oh no.
Too busy counting stacks. Picking up the slack. I was born in the trap. Chainz on cook crack. Put my city on the map. Fuck with the gang, get attacked.
Definitely did.
Praying I respond. If I ever did, I'd dead you in this game. We don't respawn. Peace, love, and positivity. That's all I want with you. But you push the issue 'cause I give you more trust than your publicist.
Woo! 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 It's the most aggressive I didn't hear Logic in ever. And I already know he's talking about Joyner Lucas. I already know he's talking about Joyner Lucas. You asked for this though, Joyner. You really did. Like, you asked for it.
Me bet if I never pick up the mic, then we might be homies. But you jealous. You look at my life and you feel envy. Constantly comparing
Intensity. Wait, no, we gotta go back. This dude just said most people that don't fuck with me and never shook my hand. I feel the exact same way, Logic. Okay, it's people out there that don't know shit about people, but have a notion about these people. You don't know me, you don't know him, you don't know XYZ. Stop talking about people's personality like you know who the fuck they are. Because at the end of the day, the people you say you don't fuck with probably wouldn't fuck with you. I love this track for the intensity. He's going at Joyner, but he's not like, you know, obviously he's not saying his name. I think he's handling it in a very courteous, kind of diplomatic way. He's giving people a response that they want, also giving Joyner the response he wants, but not giving him the response that will give Joyner exactly what he wants. At the end of the day, Logic has said before that he's not about beef. He doesn't want beef with people. But this is a way to respond to Joyner without saying his name and to kind of let him know. Now it's up for the fans to theorize and try to, you know, decide, oh, Logic would do this or Joyner would do this.
Hi, sorry, it's Elton John calling you. I hope you don't mind me getting you on your mobile or not. Thanks.
Drink it. I've heard a better Wiz Khalifa feature in a long time. This is that Taylor Gang Wiz Khalifa, that Wiz Khalifa that used to rap about smoking trees and just sitting back and relaxing and making some soothy, kind of jazzy inspired music. As Logic said, the beat is kind of J Dilla. Definitely a cruising track. Definitely he's gonna bump in the whip. Definitely. It's so smooth. Honestly, like I said, that might be the best Wiz feature I've heard within the last 2 years. Track number 7 is called Midnight.
Everybody know I be. Everybody know I be. Sipping on something, no shit, I might need an IV. Permanently. Talking about musicians, you stupid bitch. Talking about what's on my hand.
So did this incident happen with his hand in the club? Because he just mentioned something about... I know I'm reaching, so just ignore this part. You know, it's just me being... It's just me overthinking about this part, but... He did mention a part in there about his hand, and then, you know, obviously we see on the cover art, his hand is in shambles. He said, I'm not talking about musicians, you stupid bitch. I'm talking about what's on my hand. After he says rappers. Now, that could refer to rapping or bandages. So, I don't know if this incident, I don't know when it happened. within this album, but I feel like he's low-key referencing it and low-key like sprinkling it in there. You can't just do a fucking piano beat transition. Oh, nobody don't do like that. Bitch. Oh. Talk your shit. Talk about the Grammys. I love it. Yo! Logic! Brace yourself, you can't retain me. You think you fucking slick. That was a smooth line. I like that. Good. Logic picking up the slack like denim. Fuck you. You ain't shit when you sit next to me. No kidding like vasectomy. Step to me, don't disrespect to me, and I'll rearrange it. I'm sorry. Come on. No kidding me like vasectomy. The fuck is going on? This is the Logic that I miss. This is what I like to listen to him, and then I get to sit back and pause the song because it's like, yo, he just said that. This is my fun when I'm listening to rappers. Black and white like a piano when I'm proud to be, and fuck whoever tell me I am not. You couldn't go one album. I really enjoy the beat transition, very smooth. I like the the piano is still there throughout the entire second half of the track, but it's so obviously drowned out by the bass and the other massive production that you don't notice it as much, but it's always there. It adds this strange, intense aesthetic to it for some odd reason for me. Didn't like the opening track or the opening portion of this track as much, but hearing this portion, I definitely am going to come back to. This is the one I was worried about, and I mentioned to you guys on Twitter that I was scared. I'm gonna lose my shit because I feel like Warm It Up featuring Young Sinatra is him rapping on a track with himself with different an alter ego Young Sinatra, and then we got Logic or Bobby. Like, that's gonna kill me. I think I've been doing decent with this YouTube channel recently. I don't want to go out like this, man. I'm scared. Before he completely destroys my life, though, here is a Burger King coupon code 12081. Anyone want to use it? It's probably expired, but yeah, this is my memento to my subscribers if I don't make it. Have fun with your Whopper, bitch. Track number 8, Warm It Up, featuring Young Sinatra. Let's go. It's already starting off with a boom bap. It's already, I don't even want to, you know what? Let me yeah! Tell him, please, man. Let these people know. I know Logic might not be the one to say that because he's all about that peace, love, and positivity, but I'm not. I don't love you. Huh? In these Instagram comments of some of these rappers, you be listening to 21 Savage and whoever else to make you think you tough. You not. Stay in the house with that. Please. Leave all that false bravado right at the door. Before you leave the house, take that, shed that skin that you got online. Leave that at the door. Cause you not walking out the house with that kind of energy. I know you not. You a bitch. You a bitch. Yes, you in the comment section. Calling other people bitches, you a bitch. You're not gonna do nothing. Sit down. Oh! Yo! I can't. On a train on Mary Jane with Peter Parker, had more sex in the city than Sarah Jessica Parker. I'm trying to get over that because it was funny and it was a little witty. So I thought it was cute. Pause. Huh? He says when the beef is at stake. Why even try at this point? Like, I'm not gonna make it. His flow in this entire track has been impeccable. I love it. I love it. But this is Bobby. That was Young Sinatra. This is Bobby. I do. Yes! Relax. Oh, yes! Oh, my back. Bobby. of tracks going in my song of the year list for 2018. I can't really knock this down because it costs a lot of money. It really does. I tried to knock it. I thought about it. You know, I smacked it at first, but then it's like a $400 microphone. I don't have 30 million like in the bank like Logic does. So I'm gonna just I do that maybe in about 5. Flow was impeccable on that track. Beautiful production. Great inclusion of previous Young Sinatra parts because he's got lyrics from Young Sinatra 1, 2, 3, I believe, that all show up in here. He also has one from a freestyle he did live on the air like a long time ago where he says, "God damn, I'm a miraculous man, and if I wasn't Logic, I'd be his #1 fan. Beware, yeah, all that good jazz." That was in the live on the air freestyle he did like a long time ago. I love it. Perfect track. That's all I need, bro. Logic. That's all I need. Track number 9, Wizard of Oz.
Bitch, I've been running my city like I am the Wizard of Oz. Listen, somebody lied. Bitch, I've been running my city like I am the Wizard of Oz. Don't do this shit with mixtapes. That's for what I rap for the man. Increase the auto-tune so y'all can feel the pain.
What? I'm a little so-so on that track. Logic, for me, doesn't do like the greatest on auto-tune. I think if he's gonna have features on here listed, I see Big Shawn on here, I see 2 Chainz. I don't think like a Travis Scott feature would have been too much to pay for if he wanted to put him on this track. But I really don't even think for the content within this track it needed to be a feature or it needed to be anything like this. Really could have been an interlude. Logic pulls off the auto-tune well enough, but not like great enough for me to say you should really include it on this project. I like the production though. The production definitely had me going. Track number 10, State of Emergency featuring 2 Chainz. This sounds great. You just heard me clapping, didn't you?
That's why your shit is counterfeit. This that reasonable doubt shit. Jay in his prime. Coming through your neck, but first I'ma slice off the arm of anybody who ever tried to
Wait. See? He's slick. He's slick with it. He just said, "I'm coming for your neck, but first I'm gonna slice off the arm." Why?
You too weak, like 7 times 2. So show some respect when this muscle comes through. Woo!
You too weak, like oh man, ooh, god damn, too weak, like 7 times 2. 2 weeks is 14 days. 7 times 2 equals 14. I'm glad I know basic math. Track number 11, Wassup featuring Big Sean. God damn it.
Toss dice on my off night. I left the doubts and now I'm alright. Yeah, I'm a new me. They haven't seen this shit like Vader.
On my off night.
Young nigga just trying to innovate. Been away, imitated, renegade. On the Logic, instant classic like what's up? Where you been? What you know?
Debatable.
Yes, your favorite producer get murdered by 6. We touring the world for Japan.
That might be true. Pretty cool track. Big Sean did alright. I like the way he rode the beat, but lyrically I just don't think he was there enough for me. Logic on the other hand, sticking with the theme of this being an album about material to some extent, especially in his second verse. But for me, it's like his verse makes Big Sean's verse pretty forgettable. Maybe you should have had Big Sean go last. I don't know. Track number 12 I already heard. Every Day. Didn't like that song at all. My personal opinion, I don't think it's Logic's strong point. Last track, we got 44 More. I've also already heard that. Probably one of the best tracks on this mixtape. My favorite part of this track being how many different flows he explored, how he raps about saving his money so his kids have the option of going to college, not necessarily telling them that they have to go. Let me hear it again though.
That is the case and I'm feeling surprised and no I am not.
Yeah, it's just as good as I remember it. Huh? So that was Logic, Bobby Tarantino 2. Feeling pretty good about it, man. I like this project. I like the little nod to Rick and Morty. Logic was on an episode of Rick and Morty, I believe, sometime in season 3. Rick and Morty is a really good TV show to me. I think it's pretty funny. I think the humor in that show isn't very cheap at all. I think it's perfectly timed, and the references to world events and other shows is incredible to me. If I can be 100% honest with you guys, I think the first 3 tracks aren't really that strong. I do think that Contra is the strongest of those 3 tracks, but I do think Overnight is just an okay track. The Rick and Morty track, obviously being an opener into the album, isn't going to be some people's favorite, I doubt. But it is kind of funny, so I can't really say. After Contra, though, I think there's a lot to enjoy with this project. Boomtrap Protocol is great. Yuck, where he acknowledges Joyner Lucas, but at the same time he doesn't. And the best part about that track for me is Logic is making sure that the people who are listening to this album or this mixtape know that Joyner is the person who has an issue with Logic, not Logic having an issue with Joyner. And he makes that apparent by the way he raps about, you know, the conflict between Joyner and himself, saying that he really has nothing to do with this. He's living his life. And I think it was a great thing to include it on a mixtape where all you're doing is telling people about how you're living your life. Saying, I'm over here having fun, I'm trying to do my thing. If you have a problem with me, then it's probably something that you're doing because I'm focusing on me. Indica Badu with Wiz Khalifa was a great, phenomenal track, very vibey, very smooth, very jazzy, very laid back. Even though the track is very laid back, Logic is still rapping, not eliminating the existence of lyrics on this track. And neither is Wiz, to be honest. They both keep the track consistent through their themes, talking about weed. Midnight is a great track. Logic is spitting in the second portion of it. The second portion of it makes the track, in my opinion. Intro is a little bit slower, but it's still a pretty good track. Warm It Up featuring Young Sinatra may be one of Logic's best tracks in years. I actually prefer that one over 44 More. That's just the Young Sinatra part of me. 44 More is a great track, but lyrically, I just think Warm It Up surpasses it. Wizard of Oz, probably not Logic's best track. The auto-tune, not really that great. Subject matter in the song was very redundant, and it's very interchangeable with the other tracks on this project. State of Emergency with 2 Chainz and Logic still rapping about his accomplishments and what he's been doing. Don't mind it. Keeps with the theme of the rest of the album. Beats knocking, and 2 Chainz goes off in the very beginning. All of that charisma and being able to perfectly lay himself over these tracks. I haven't heard a bad 2 Chainz feature in recent years. The Wassup featuring Big Shawn track, it's okay. I don't really think that was a necessary track either. It's here, so of course I'll listen to it. But if I had the option to skip it, I would. Every Day, in my opinion, being the worst track on this entire project, is my opinion. I think it's way too poppy and it appeals to a side of Logic that, in my opinion, I just hate. I hate that sound. Literally, that's why. I'm telling you why it appeals to a pop fan base. I hate that sound. It's poppy rap. It's bubblegum music. And I guess I really won't include the first track because it's just an intro. It's just leading you into it. So it's really like 8 out of 12 tracks. 2 of those other 4 tracks that I didn't like just could have been off the album. I wouldn't necessarily say they're bad, but the Overnight track, just boring to me, and the Everyday track is just awful. I would have liked to see something thematically happen with the whole Rick and Morty sketch material that was happening in the beginning of the project. I would have liked to see where he would have taken that thematically. But as we listen to this project, we see that Logic is incorporating some of those cover art references into his music. And now I have to go back and listen to albums like Tits and albums like Everybody to see if he actually said anything in reference, and in Bobby Tarantino to see if he actually referenced anything as far as the cover art is concerned. And if we're gonna see a trader appear in Ultra 85, that's gonna mean something to the Everybody cover art. So there is a theme with this project of Logic talking about his accomplishments and his experiences in the position that he is right now, while also making subtle references toward the theme overall of the space traveling concept that he's been running with since Tits. Gotta shout out Six for amazing production over all of this mixtape. I think it sounds amazing. There are some aspects of Logic that I just could do without, like the auto-tuning, like sometimes the harmonizing. It makes him come off kind of like a mini Drake in some aspect. I don't think his voice is distinct enough to explore, or sometimes I don't think his voice is exciting enough to explore that singing element, that harmonious element. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. It just falls on the more inconsistent side to me. It doesn't really seem like he's changing his vocal range to make himself more harmonious on certain tracks. It seems like he's just changing the bass level within his voice. And sometimes that goes better and sometimes it doesn't. If there's any way to describe, you know, this album, I would say it's a decent balance of what hip-hop heads would want and what people who like, you know, the Atlanta trap style of music like to hear at the same time. I think Logic does well mixing both of them into this fun little project and releasing it to the public, not really trying to do too much, not really trying to preach this broad message, just staying within a lane where Logic is comfortable in a certain pocket and a certain subject matter, and I think he does well enough for himself. Logic, Bobby Tarantino 2. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you liked the video. I hope you liked the album. Let me know what your favorites were in the comment section down below. Loved Young Sinatra feature on Warm It Up. I'm gonna be listening to that for God knows how long. That is one of my favorite Logic tracks already. As always, let me know what you thought about this album in the comment section, this mixtape, God, in the comment section down below, and I'll see you next time. Peace. Drink your water. Huh?